Hi everyone! So in my last video I talked about one of my favorite booktubers, Shawn the Book Maniac, and today he has tagged me in the Try a Chapter tag. But this is the book Unhaul version. So I have looked at my shelves and picked 5 books that I have had on my shelf for a very, very, very long time. And I am basically going to read the first chapter or so out of each book, and I will come back and tell you what I thought. And I will keep the ones that sound interesting to me, and I will get rid of the ones that don't, which I'm very excited about because I really only have one main bookshelf in my bedroom, and I'm running out of, actually I have two, I have one right here, but I am running out of room, and so I need to get rid of some stuff. So this is a great way to do that. So I have picked out 5 books that I have acquired 2 or 3 years ago. Actually, I think only 2 years ago. And I kind of am wondering, I think I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of these books. Some of them sound very interesting. Some of them are a little iffy. So we will figure out that together. And they all happen to be hardcovers. So the first book I have is The Veins of the Ocean by Patricia Engel. From what I can gather on the dust jacket, this book is about our main character, Raina, whose brother is serving a life sentence in prison for a crime that she basically is blaming herself for. And so she moves to the Florida Keys and meets another character whose name is Nesto, who is recently exiled from Cuba and is awaiting the arrival of his children. And the story probably ensues from there. I know it talks about the ocean and the water being a very important symbol about each character's story. I don't know. I remember Max. I don't remember the name of his channel because it's gone. He doesn't do booktube anymore, but he had talked highly about this. So that made me want to get it. I don't remember when I picked this up, but I think this came out in 2016. I think all these books have come out in 2016. Yes, 2016, and this is published by Grove Atlantic. So we'll see how this one goes. I remember this next book. I remember this being recommended by Rincey over at Rincey Reads, and I think this cover is stunning. This is The Architect's Apprentice by Elif Shafak. Isn't this... Oh, it's such a beautiful cover. So this story takes place in the 16th century in Istanbul, and we follow the main character who brings a white elephant to the Sultan as a gift. And so this character, whose name I can't really pronounce, he becomes the trainer for this elephant. And then he meets the chief architect of the palace, who then takes sort of the main character of this kid under his wing, along with 4 other apprentices. They build and construct historical buildings. Apparently things happen. I like this last section of the summary. Kind of got me really interested. It says, a dramatic, memorable story of artistic freedom, creativity, and the clash between science and ignorance. Shafak's novel brims with vibrant characters, including gypsies, heretics, and Sufis, prostitutes, and other voices of the dispossessed. Compelling adventure and the lavish backdrop of the Ottoman court, where love and loyalty are no match for raw power. So it sounds like something I really, really will like. Unlike the Veins of the Ocean, I don't know that I'm really going to get into that, but I think I will really... this one sounds really interesting to me, so we'll see how this one goes. The next book I remember hearing about on one of Book Riot's podcasts. I remember Liberty Hardy. I don't listen to these anymore, but I remember her. She really, really loved this book, so I remember I went out and got it. And this is The Wolf Road by Beth Lewis. Apparently this is about a girl named Elka, who was taken in at 7 years old by someone named Trapper. She was wandering lost and hungry, and this guy took her in and taught her about how to survive the wilderness. But Elka finds out that this guy, Trapper, is a killer, and so she decides to run away to find her real parents, and I guess discovers that this Trapper guy is following her. And so it's basically like a big chase. Yeah, so that's what that's about, and we will see what I think. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking, I don't know why I got this. I don't, it doesn't really sound very interesting anymore. But, you know, I will commit to reading the first section, and I'll tell you about it and see what happens. This next book is very popular on BookTube when it first came out. I remember seeing a lot of people talking about this. And this is The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. The summary given on the dust jacket is quite complicated, so because I don't want to make this video really super long, I'm not going to read it to you, and I can't really summarize it myself because it's pretty complicated. So I'm sure a lot of you have read this, and if not, I'll tell you about the first section after I read it. And I think this is a beautiful cover too, and it comes with a ribbon bookmark, which is always really nice. So we will see how this one goes. Okay, and the last book, I don't remember how I heard about this one, but this is Grace by Natasha Dayon. And this is published by Counterpoint Press, which, I don't know, I'll show you the spine because it shows you right there. Which is a publishing house located in Berkeley, California, which is very close to me. So I thought that was kind of cool. So I'm basically just going to read the dust jacket because it probably does the summary more justice than what I can do for you. So here we go. For a slave in the 1840 South, life under the run can be just as dangerous as life under a sadistic massa. That's what 15-year-old Naomi learns after she escapes the brutal confines of life on an Alabama plantation and takes refuge in a Georgia brothel run by a gun-toting Jewish madam named Cynthia. Amidst a revolving door of gamblers and prostitutes, Naomi falls in love with a smooth-talking white man named Jeremy. The product of their union is Josie, whose white skin and blonde hair mark her as different from the others on the plantation. Having been taken in as an infant by a free slave named Charles, Josie has never known her mother, who was murdered at her birth. Josie soon becomes caught in the tide of history when news of the Emancipation Proclamation reaches her, and a day of supposed freedom turns into one of unfathomable, I can't say that word today, unfathomable violence that will define Josie and her lost mother for years to come. It sounds really heartbreaking and sad, and something that I think I will really enjoy, so I'm excited to try this one out. So that's it. It is late, and I have to go run back to work soon, so I probably will have to film this within a couple of days. So I will read as much as I can today, and I will be right back to tell you my thoughts. All right, so I've already, well, I just read the first 8 or so pages of this, and already I can tell that this is not for me. I don't know if my reading tastes have changed in 2 years, or, you know, I really know what I like and what I don't, but I just can't get into this writing style at all. This is one of the reasons why I really did not like this book right here, because I can't think of it right now. The same vein of why I didn't like that book is why I don't like this book. The writing is dead, like da-da-da-da-da. Like, this happened. Like, I walked to the store. I did this. And then this happened. There's no juice. There's no, you know, it's like dry. It's like, bleh. I don't know. That's, you know, that's really professional critique speak. Bleh. It's very choppy. It all takes, you know, it's in the third person. So, I'm sorry, that's definitely not the third person. It's definitely in the first person. But I don't know if it's a character choice for her, but I don't think I can read a whole book written this way. I guess I can go ahead and give you an example of what I mean. Basically, the beginning of the book, you find out why her brother went to prison. And it's very sad and kind of ridiculous. And I know, I guess it could be a realistic thing, but to me, it's hard for me to believe that this is true. Anyway, I will, let me pick out something really quickly to show you. that doesn't kind of give anything away if you want to pick this up. First of all, there's this really long sentence that I hate. Okay, well, I guess this will kind of give something away. So here's a spoiler. Okay. And that's it. Instead of just dumping her like a normal person would, he drove over to her house, kissed her sweet on the lips, told her he was taking her daughter by her high school boyfriend out to buy... Sorry, I can't even understand the sentence because I can't read it right. Told her he was taking her daughter by her high school boyfriend out to buy a new doll at the toy store. But instead, this is all commas, but instead, Carlito drove over to the Rickenbacker Bridge and, comma, without a second's hesitation, comma, he flung baby Shayna off into the water like she was yesterday's trash going into the landfill. I mean, it's terrible and sad, but that sentence is, I can't do it. I can't read a whole book like that. Anyway, yeah, we're getting rid of this book. All right, I will read the next books later and film as much as I can whenever I can. I'm rambling. Bye! So, it is a little later in the day. I'm about to go to bed. I've got the fire going in the background. And I just finished the first little section of The Architect's Apprentice by Elif Shafak. And I actually quite enjoyed this a little bit. The first section is like a kind of like a prologue, and it is told from the perspective of our main character, but he is very old, and he's sort of looking back on his life as this apprentice, and he talks about a failed love, and he's sort of reminiscing about the buildings that he created, and he talks a lot about the actual architect and sort of a secret that he left hidden underneath some sort of building or something. So that's kind of how that one ends. And then the first section, or the first little chapter, takes place not when the apprentice is young, like I thought it would, but actually I think when he's like in his like he says 40s or so. So he's been an apprentice for a while, and something happens. I don't really want to give it away because it's actually really good. I think I'm going to read it later and I'll see if I recommend it to you. But something happens and he sort of gets caught in the palace, and the next section we meet the actual architect, and he has to go because I kind of not rescue him, but speak up for him and kind of I don't know. He gets an assignment from the Sultan to build a tomb for the Sultan's father, who I guess just died or something. I wasn't quite clear. And then the section after that, I think, goes back in time so that we learn about our apprentice. So I think that's kind of how this story's going. Maybe it'll keep switching time periods. I'm not sure. But I actually found that I really enjoyed the writing. It sort of reads as, a folk tale, kind of, and the prose is really fluid and kind of lush. Lots of really beautiful descriptions of the scenery, of the beautiful buildings, and the nature of the trees and I'm not doing a very good job explaining it, but it's been a long day. Yeah, I think I'm gonna keep this and read it when I am in the mood for kind of like a folk tale-ish kind of thing. Yeah, I really liked it. So I think I'm going to read one more tonight. So if not, we'll see you in a bit. Okay, another dud. This is just finished a tiny little first chapter of The Wolf Road by Beth Lewis. Not for me. Not for me. First of all, I don't mind reading about the end of the story at the beginning, but when the book is apparently about some sort of like cat and mouse chase, a bad guy trying to chase the main character, and then you find out what happens at the beginning, to me that kind of just loses the suspense. So that's one of the main reasons why I don't think I'm going to read this. The other thing is the first person narrative. It's written in kind of like a dialect that I don't like. Again, very sparse prose. Just bleh. Don't like it. Don't like it at all. So I will be giving this away. Well, we're on a roll. Let's keep going. Okay, so here's the problem with this tag. Usually these try the chapter tags are for books that you want to read next. So you get a stack of books, and you know they're usually books that you don't know which one you want to read. So you're going to try one chapter, and the one that speaks to you the most, you're going to read that one next. My list of books that I'm going to read next is huge. So a lot of these books I've chosen are books that I've had for a long time that aren't on that list. That, you know, at one point or another in my life I wanted them. So, you know, this is a good way of knowing if I want to keep them or not. I read the first half of the first chapter because the first chapter of this is really long. And it's my channel. I can do what I want. And if these books in particular don't grab me right at the beginning, then I'm not going to keep them. Because like I said, I have so many books to read that if the first 15 or so pages don't grab me, then I don't need to keep it, because even if I was interested in this book, I probably won't read it for a very, very long time. So if in the near future I come across this book and I've heard so many amazing things about it, I have nothing to read, then I will pick it up again. But because it's huge and I need more room, I'm going to get rid of it. It was fine. It was a little boring. I know beginnings of a book are hard to judge because there's a lot of, you know, setting up, especially in a fantasy world when there's a lot of a fantasy book when there's a lot of world building and you know, there's a lot of setting up, as you will. But yeah, not gonna keep it. Maybe in some other life in the future I will pick this up again. But this one I'm really interested. If you have read this book, please let me know your thoughts, good or bad, because you know, maybe I'll pick it up again in the future. So I have one more book left to go, and we'll see what happens. All right, I am happy to say that we are ending this video on a good note. A good note, but a very powerful and moving one. I just read the first chapter. There's a little prologue, and then the chapter of Grace by Natasha Dion. Whew, this blew me away just reading the beginning of it. This is really good. If I wasn't reading so much, I would read this right now. It was just the beginning, just caught my attention right away. This is what I'm looking for when I read the first chapter of something. I'm going to read you the first little chunk because what a way to start a novel. I'm going to omit a certain word that I assume you probably know what it is, but I do not want to say it. So, this is how this begins. I am dead. I died a long time ago. Before you were born, before your mother was born, before your grandmother. I was 17. Still am, I reckon, and everyone that was there that night is dead now too, so it don't matter that I was. Or a slave. What matters is I had a daughter, who had daughters, and they had theirs. Family, I could have saved a whole lot of trouble by telling them the things that I know. But there are some stories that mothers never tell their daughters. Secret stories. Stories that would prove a mother was once young, done things with men she could never tell, in ways she could never tell, and places she should never. Private stories where love, any semblance of love, would lead a person like me to the place I was that night in 1848 when I died. And that's how it starts. So yeah, we have the prologue of, we find out how she dies. And then it goes back in time to when our main character, Naomi, is a little girl. And then the second chapter, I read a little bit more, is when she's 15. So it goes back and forth through time. And it is gripping and... Oh, I want to read you one more section, I just remembered. The really lush descriptions. I really enjoyed this section. It's not very long. Dusk is where it's safe. And dusk is where the magic is, where you can hide things in the orange-pink shade of a losing day. Even the green waters of Moss Lake get blended gone from dusk. You can stand a running leap away from its wave and not see the water, like it's just another part of the field. Dusk blends me away too. So hopefully I will pick this up soon and read it because I really, really like this book. So I think that was a pretty successful try a first chapter tag in the book Unhaul version. So in summary, I'm going to be getting rid of The Veins of the Ocean, The Queen of the Tearling, and The Wolf Road. And I will be keeping The Architect's Apprentice by Elif Shafak, and the winner of the day, Grace by Natasha Dion. And this is her debut novel, by the way, which was published in 2016. So good. Okay. The only thing that's left for me to do is tag people. I am going to tag Bruno and James, and I'm going to tag Russell at Ink and Paper Blog, and I'm going to tag Liz Schubert, and one more person I forgot. Oh, Amy from the Dusty Bookshelf. Amy. I really she just did a tag, but you know, here's another one. Have fun. And of course, everyone should just do this because it's fun. Okay, this was fun. I will of course link some videos that are important down below. Thanks again for subscribing. Thank you, Shawn, for tagging me. I had a lot of fun doing this, and thank you for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. I hope everyone's well. Be kind to each other. Bye.